Hello, my name is Ani Eblighatian. I am a PhD student in classical archaeology at the University of Geneva in Switzerland. Today I will present you a tale of Antioch-Salamis, what the lamps may reveal about these two cities. I'm studying the lamps, the object of daily life, and I'm focusing on the discourse of the lamps because of the iconography. At the beginning of my research, I focused on the sites Antioch, Apamea, Palmyra, and Dura-Europos in Roman Syria. But because of the actual situation in Syria, I couldn't have access to the lamps found in the three cities, so I had to focus only on the lamps coming from the excavations of Antioch. Antioch was found by Seleucus Nicator in 300 BC. In 64 BC, it became the capital of the Roman province of Syria. From 1st century, it was the Byzantine Empire and then the Arab conquest in 637. Antioch was subjected to earthquakes since the 2nd century, and the strongest one was in 526 AD, which destroyed a big part of the city. A study semester at Princeton University allowed me to get a collection of 700 lamps coming from the excavations of Antioch between 1932 and 1939. The photos of the lamps that I will show in my presentation are the copyright of Princeton University. I will show also negatives from the archives from the Department of Art and Archaeology at Princeton University. You can find these archives online on the website, the negatives and the plans. So, from the 700 lamps and fragments of lamps, I could identify the location of 480 lamps coming from Antioch and the suburbs, Daphne and Seleucia. From Antioch, I have a collection of 260 lamps. From Daphne, 130 lamps. And from Seleucia, about 90 lamps. While studying the iconography of the lamps from Antioch, I noticed that most of the parallels are from Salamis. Salamis was founded after the Trojan War, according to the Homeric epics. And then we have the Greek archaic period, Greek classical period, Hellenistic period, Roman period, and the Byzantine Empire, and then the Arab conquest. Salamis was excavated by the Department of Antiquity of Cyprus from 1952 to 1974, and also by a French mission from 1964 to 1974. So, what the lamps may reveal about these two cities? The lamps from Antioch were studied by Wage and published in the first volume of Antioch excavations in 1934. He divided them in groups based on the chronology. The sequence of the lamps are from down to up, the Greek, Hellenistic, and then Roman and early Byzantine. Then he did a larger study and published in the third volume of the lamps found later. The lamps from Salamis were studied by Oziol and published in 1967. It was divided based on the typology of the lamps and the production. Now I will present you 10 lamps. The first one is two fragments of the discus of a lamp presenting Actaeon attacked by his dogs when Artemis transferred him to a deer. It was probably found in Daphne, sector 26 OP, house of the man of letters. The example of Salamis is coming from tomb 50. We see also other examples of these lamps found in Corinth, also in Paphos in Cyprus, and Bailey in his catalogue of the lamps of British Museum is dating it to the second half of the 1st century. The second is the fragment of a discus of a lamp presenting Eros playing the double aulos and riding a dolphin. This example was found in Daphne, in sector also 26 OP, in the House of the Men of Letters. The example of Salamis is published by Oziol in 1977. He is mentioning that it is coming from the excavations of Salamis without mentioning the sector. Bailey published it in his volume and also dating from the second half of the 1st century. The third example is the handle of a lamp. These lamps are imitation of metallic lamps, which were reflectors because of the 120 degree, they reflect the shade of the decoration. So this is a clay imitation of metallic lamps. On the handle, we see the acanthus leaf. It was found in the sector 10N in Antioch, House A, which is Atrium House. The example of Salamis is from Tome 50, and there is a second example coming from the French excavations found in the Trial Trench sector K5, published by Oziol. The fourth example represents a fragment of the discus of a lamp, which has the relief of a bird standing on an olive branch. It was probably found in Bath A in Antioch. The example of Salamis is also from the French excavations, the Trial Trench K5. The fifth lamp presents a rosette found in Bath A in Antioch. The example of Salamis is also from the Trial Trench K5. The sixth lamp has on the discus a representation of a dog or a deer. It is coming from the suburb Seleucia, sector 19G, the Market District, Trial Trench 1, room 4. The example of Salamis is from K5. It is also dating from the second half of the 1st century. The seventh example represents Hercules fighting a snake in the garden of Hesperides. It was found in Seleucia, sector 17F, in the house of Dionysus and Ariadne, in Trial Trench 3, room 2. The example of Salamis was mentioned to be from the excavations of Salamis, and there is another example coming from Tartus in Syria, published in a private collection. The eighth example of the lamps from Antioch presents a dolphin on a trident. It is probably from Antioch sector 15R. There is another example coming from Salamis, and also other examples in museums of Cyprus. When we look at these lamps, we see that the quality of the relief on the discus is not the same as the other examples from Salamis, which are better decorated. So they are not the production of the same workshop. We have an example of this lamp coming from Vindonissa in Switzerland, also from Fayoum in Egypt, and Bailey published it in his catalog, dating it from the second half of the 1st century. On the lamp number 9, we see a scallop shell, which symbolizes the birth of Aphrodite. It was probably found in Bath F, sector 13R. The example of Salamis is also from the Trial Trench K5. As the lamps of Antioch were published without the location, I had to go through the archives, through the daily reports and the field notebooks to understand how the excavations were taking place, each trench and each date. They are giving a lot of information. It's true that it's approximately, but these details are helping a lot to understand how the excavations developed. And by matching with the plans and negatives, I'm getting a lot of information about the past excavations of Antioch. The last example, number 3, is a lamp found mainly in Cyprus and Antioch. They are circular and they date later, from the early Byzantine period. A lot of fragments of this lamp are found in 13R. They were broken because they have very fine clay. There is an example coming from Sector 9 VW, Church of Mashuka. The example of Salamis is from Tomb 50. So, to conclude, these 10 examples of lamp give information that the lamps between Salamis and Antioch are coming mainly from 2 periods, the second half of the 1st century and the 5th and 6th centuries, and mainly from 2 sectors, Tomb 50 and the trial trench K5. And in Antioch, they were from the baths and the houses in Antioch, Daphne, and Seleucia. Looking back at the groups of Wage and Osiol, we noticed that the Roman and early Byzantine groups are mostly connected. I'm continuing my research on the lamps of Antioch and hoping to have more clarification on this question regarding Salamis and other questions, and more discoveries will reveal more information. I couldn't do this research without the support of the University of Geneva and my supervisor, Professor Lorenz Baumer, and the generous support of Ernest and Lucy Schmidt-Heine Foundation. Also CUSO, Conférence Universitaire de Suisse Occidentale, and the warm welcome and help of the Art Museum of Princeton University and the Visual Resources Collection. Thank you very much for your attention.